Once the borders of the Republic of Moldova and Romania were opened, members of some organizations also came to Moldova/Romania, like Rotary Club, and those with whom they were discussing in Moldova were also former communists. Because they, former communists, controlled politics and business in Moldova. I wrote only 2 names above, but such individuals are full of Moldova. For example, Vladimir Plotniuk, when Moldova was in the Soviet Union, he was active in the KGB and his mission was to provoke foreigners through hotels with Moldovan girls. Those individuals were filmed with hidden cameras and then blackmailed. When Moldova became independent in 1991, Plotniuk became a pimp. This analysis that I will publish in this post are from public information. Let us start first with a press statement made by a General Anton Gamurari from the Republic of Moldova. In the 88-89, I largely served the city center, where the Inchurist Hotel and the Chisinau Hotel were, restaurants and other institutions. The Inchurist Hotel, today it is called the National Hotel, was served by 2 services, the Ministry of the Interior and the KGB. From that center, grew some people who became very rich in the Republic, including Plotniuk. From 1945 to 1991, Moldova was part of the Soviet Union, and all hotels in Moldova were state-owned. Let us not forget that during this period it was the Cold War. The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies, the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc, which began following World War II. Historians do not fully agree on its starting and ending points, but the period is generally considered to span the 1947 Truman Doctrine, March 12, 1947, to the 1991 dissolution of the Soviet Union, December 26, 1991. From 1945 to 1991 it was very difficult to leave Moldova or visit Moldova. To leave the country or to visit you had to have authorization after you were checked by the KGB. Because there were very few tourists, there were few hotels, and which they were controlled by the KGB. In 1991 the Soviet Union collapsed and some might write, that the Soviet Union was collapsing and that pimping was possible in 1988, 1989, or 1990. In other socialist republics in the Soviet Union it would have been possible but not in the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic. Because during this period in the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic the Minister of Internal Affairs was Vladimir Voronin. In 1985 Voronin was appointed head of section in the Council of Ministers of the MSSR. From 1985 till 1989 he worked as first secretary of the Bender Town Committee of CPM. In 1989 to 1990 was in office of Minister of Home Affairs of the MSSR. In 1993 Voronin was the co-president of the Organizational Committee for the creation of the Communist Party of the Republic of Moldova. In 1994 he was elected first secretary of CC of the CPRM. In the same year he ran for the President of the Republic of Moldova. Mr. Voronin was in office of President of the Republic of Moldova during April 4, 2001, September 11, 2009. The most important institutions in the Republic of Moldova, as the General Prosecutor's Office, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Government of the Republic of Moldova, the Presidency of the Republic of Moldova, are located on Stefan Selmayr Boulevard. And the distance between the National Hotel and the Ministry of Internal Affairs is 1 kilometer. I don't think there is anyone to say that the Minister of Internal Affairs did not know what was happening at the National Hotel, Inchurist Hotel, especially pimping actions. I assume that Plotniuk also knows Voronin from the same period. I have previously written what Plotniuk was doing at this hotel at that time. When a tourist came to Moldova and the National Hotel, Plotniuk was accommodated through Moldovan girls who also worked for the KGB. They provoked tourists. These tourists were filmed with hidden cameras as they had sex and then blackmailed. The same tactic was used by Vladimir Putin against the Attorney General, who is investigating the Yeltsin family. In April 1999, then FSB chief Vladimir Putin and Interior Minister Sergei Stpashin held a televised press conference in which they discussed a video that had aired nationwide on March 17 on the state-controlled RTR channel, which showed a naked man very similar to Skaratov in bed with two young women. This video was released after he had been investigating numerous corrupt officials including Alexander Mamet and both Pavel Borodin and Vladimir Putin, and had begun looking into charges of corruption by President Boris Yeltsin and his associates. The video was said to serve as compromat. The real case when porn images of Romania's ambassador in Chișinău Ion Nuixa with a Moldovan woman were posted on the internet. In professional language it is called compromat. Such videos are used as blackmail. Usually the person who owns these videos comes with a proposal to the victim in which it is proposed to collaborate for the FSB branch in Moldova, which is called SIS. Also the victim is offered money, and because of the relationships they have, the FSB branch are interested that this individual to be promoted in his career and in the future to provide services for the FSB. Another case of discrediting is that of former Prime Minister Vlad Filat. A pro-Russian politician from Moldova, Renato Iosatai, comes up with documents revealing money laundering methods used by Vlad Filat, most likely due to stupidity and lack of experience. In a press conference he declared that he got this information from Romania, and most probably they got the information from Romanians who are blackmailed and further promoted by the Russians. The coup de grace was given to former Prime Minister Vlad Filat when a video was published on the internet when he had sex with his mistress. They destroyed his family, and then Vlad Filat was jailed for tax evasion. It is a classic KGB method, although some cases use tools like rape, but the status of the person is also taken into account. In the former Soviet space, if you go to prison for rape, you become the puppet in prison for the prisoners. Such footage is only public when the politician is no longer of any value or becomes a public danger to other agents. When you start working in politics in the former Soviet space, you have to devote yourself to your family, and if you are not ready for that, either don't work in politics or don't make your family. The tourist returned to his country and was then contacted by an employee of the embassy of the Soviet Union, who was usually from the GRU or KGB. It acts according to the position of the tourist. KGB/FSB and GRU were interested in promoting tourists in their careers and in being useful in obtaining information. On December 25, 1991, the Soviet flag flew over the Kremlin in Moscow for the last time. Representatives from Soviet republics, Ukraine, Georgia, Belarus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, had already announced that they would no longer be part of the Soviet Union. The KGB branch in Moldova has lost contact with Moscow, and many soldiers, people who worked for KGB, ended up without jobs. Those who had access to information sold them to those in the West. Those who had access to weapons sold them at a very cheap price, including to terrorists, and those who provoked tourists with Moldovan girls ended up pimping. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Moldova became an independent republic. In 1993, Voronin refounded the Moldavian Communist Party as the Party of Communists of the Republic of Moldova, PCRM, becoming its president a year later. Victor Popescu, a former officer from Fulger, formerly OMON, revealed that in 1993 he caught Vladimir Plotniuk while selling prostitutes on the 13th floor of a building in Chișinău. It happened in 1993, when I found Vlad Plotniuk on the 13th floor, where he was selling prostitutes. Yes, I found out where he took them. He was the head of these crimes. We had only 3 boys in the police at the time. I was soon released from service at Fulger. With Putin coming to power in Russia, the contact between Moscow and the KGB branches has been restored, only now they are called FSB and not KGB, and the local branch of FSB in Moldova is called the Information and Security Service.